All right, okay, we have a quorum. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So first is the director is going to preamble. Get going. Good morning, Drew.
Morning, everyone.
Xavier, before we begin, can you turn on the video as well? Our video is
Yes,
missing.
great, thank you.
While Xavier is getting our video, I do want to note that we do have a new staff member with us. Her name is Mila Moss.
Welcome.
She has joined us on Monday, so she's completely new. She's observing today. And she is the Development Review Coordinator, where she'll be assisting with traffic control around design review and permits and all the work that we do there.
Welcome.
Glad to join you. Thank you very much.
All right, let's start. So I'll read the preamble. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the city planning department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Recusals from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When you finish speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. All users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activities being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter submitted through proper channels have been considered. We've also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Proper channels for comments are listed below. Communication with members of this body must follow proper channels for consideration. Any comments received by the Wednesday 12 p.m. deadline are collected by city planning staff and disseminated to the commission members prior to any scheduled meeting. Proper channels for public comment include sending an email to the city planning address with a comment or letter, calling and or leaving a message at our phone number, sending a letter or dropping off comments at City Hall. Okay, meeting rules and procedures. We'll talk a little bit about how each item will go through the agenda. The chair will call each agenda item and then each applicant will be invited to proceed through their presentation. Each presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the commission in order to facilitate a smooth presentation. Once the presentation has concluded, the chair will ask planning staff to summarize design review committee recommendations and any public comments received. The deadline for public comments is noon on the Wednesday prior to any regularly scheduled city planning commission meeting and will be read into the record. Any comments received by the deadline are distributed to commission members prior to the meeting through the draft box. Staff will also identify any members of the public present and scheduled to speak. Public comment is allowed at the discretion of the chair, and any individual providing public comment is permitted 2 minutes to speak to the agenda item in which they have an interest. The chair will then request a recommendation from staff if applicable. Commission will then begin deliberations and project review. Any commission member except the chair may make a motion at any point that after an agenda item has been called. Thank you.
Let's call the roll.
Anthony,
Present.
Fluker, Curry,
Present.
McCray Scott,
Present.
Sargent,
Present.
Life. No. Madam Chair, you go.
Thank you. First order of business is to approve the meeting minutes from the November 1st meeting, which we have here if anyone needs them, and we got them in advance. So even though we have a quorum, if you weren't here, it's okay. You can abstain, but we'll still be able to vote on them. So we have a motion to approve minutes from November 1st meeting. approve, you have to do it.
I can't second. Go for it.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Abstain.
Carrie,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Abstain.
I believe motion carries, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, first item is zoning matter, conditional use permit, the large state licensed residential facility, the 6 resident group home at 3112 West Boulevard. This is a zoning matter, so I'll just read the rules for, actually, this is the only zoning matter. So first, we're gonna hear from staff, and I'll make a presentation about this matter. Second, we will hear from any of the, project representatives, or it could be council person. Then we'll open it up for public comment. And so, first I'll ask either if you're online or in person for those who are proponents or in favor of the zoning change, to state your name, and keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, and then we'll take comments from those that are opposed. We'll then close the public portion of the meeting, and the commission members will deliberate or ask questions on the matter. So, I think, are you or Shannon presenting this one?
yes, Madam Chair, I will be presenting today. Thank you. Is it okay if I sit here? I just want
You
to
can.
make sure I manage anything else.
Just make sure to speak up so the mic can pick you up.
Great. So hello, my name is Xavier Bay. I'm a zoning planner in city planning. Today I'm presenting to you the conditional use needs for this proposed project at 3122 West Boulevard. So the current zoning of this project is in 2-family residential district. They're requesting a conditional use for a large residential facility, and this will be large is categorized as anything containing 6 or more persons. Their proposal is to house 6 to 8 persons. They're proposing to be a state licensed facility. They will need variances after this hearing due to the amount of persons they're planning to have. Anything 6 or more is first permissible in a multifamily zoning district, and they are within 1,000 feet of 3 existing residential facilities. So currently on the screen here, you can see the bottom left photo of the property in question. On the right, you'll see a saturation map of where these other state licensed facilities are in this ward, in Ward 11. And the star represents generally where this property is located. See, there are rather large amount of residential facilities in this general proximity. Here you'll see a current zoning map, a closer view, a zoom in here, if you will, of the 3 existing facilities to the northwest. And so you can see how these other bubbles and these other shaded bubbles here show you there are more facilities generally close by this location.
Well, to clarify, they're in the buffer, right?
Correct.
In the buffer.
Correct. Within the 1,000-foot buffer of other existing residential facilities. And so here I'll give you some general criteria for giving a conditional use. City Planning Commission may approve a large state licensed residential facility that is for 6 or 16 persons as a conditional use. If they meet the following criteria, if the location is not within 1,000 feet of another residential facility, if proposed plans display fences, walls, and screens that are compatible with the remaining land uses, the residential character of the neighborhood, and that the facility meet all applicable yard, parking, and sign regulations in the zoning code. Here I just displayed a couple of snapshots of the current residential context along West Boulevard. Here you'll see the site plan provided by the applicant. They do display some parking in the rear. They are right next to the off-ramp of 90. And here you'll see some of the floor plans provided by the applicant. I believe it's 2 stories. You have a basement. There are about 4 bedrooms. And so here I'm just going to recap the conditional use requirements. Facility Typically, conditional use is able to be granted when you're not within 1,000 feet of other facilities. This location is within 1,000 feet of 3 existing facilities. It is their plans are compatible with the residential character of the neighborhood. They're not proposing any signage at this time. And so just want to recap that this project will need to continue with variances from the Board of Zoning Appeals, mainly because they are within 1,000 feet of 3 other facilities, and they're not in a multifamily district, they're in a 2-family zoning district. I also just want to mention that our main purpose of the 1,000-foot buffer in the code is really to not saturate neighborhoods with this use, really to protect the persons within the facility and the neighborhood. Really want to keep the occupants of the proposed facility outside of a institutional nature of a neighborhood, and so saturation of these facilities within neighborhoods tends to really change the fabric of the community. They're also not in proximity with other health institutions and other resources of that nature.
Can I ask a clarifying question before we hear from the applicant?
Yes.
In the past, if we've seen these recently, have we seen them before they've gone to the Board of Zoning Appeals and why I'm asking this? Or have the other ones not required a zoning variance?
Yes, so the ones that you have seen, we've positioned the planning commission hearing prior to the Board of Zoning Appeals hearing. And that's mainly because if the determination here is that it's denied, they can also appeal the city planning commission's decision when they go to the Board of Zoning Appeals for their other variance needs. So that being said, we've been hearing them prior to their Board of Zoning Appeals hearings.
And say it again, you said it, but we're doing the conditional use. What are the zoning? What are the variances they need from those?
Yep, so the variances they need from the Board of Zoning Appeals are a use variance, because the use that they're proposing is first permissible in a multifamily zoning district, and they're located in a 2-family zoning district. And they also need a variance for area. They're within 1,000 feet of 3 other existing residential facilities.
And is that is this the same reason why we're seeing it?
And I'm sure we're seeing it because they're proposing over 5 persons. Whenever they're proposing 6 or more people, they need a conditional use from the city planning commission. And if they're located in a multifamily district, they'd also need it. But you're seeing it today because they're requesting over 5 people.
So,
Right? Sorry.
and just to clarify, that's really helpful, because if it was over 6 and we were approving it, if it was in a multifamily, there's a chance they would not have to go to vote if they met requirements, but they would have to come here. I was just trying to understand, we are required 6 and over regardless, even if they meet all the requirements.
Correct. Last note I wanted to make was that we did have communication from the councilman in this area, Councilman Kelly, and I did see, I think, his representative show up here. They are in opposition of this proposed facility.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant or the representative of the project online or here?
I'm right here.
Would you please take your name and would you like to say anything before we open it up for public?
Yes. What do I just come up there or stay right here?
Either here, up here, and whatever you're more comfortable. Come on. Please take your name and address.
My name is Anthony Williams. All right, and my address is 3122 West Boulevard, Cleveland, Ohio, 44111. Just want to give a little history on here.
Mhm.
So on the first slide, you see the house is 2,090 square foot, and we're proposing 24/7 supervision of facility type 2 residential facility. Here you go. Yeah, great. So here's the floor plan. Of course, you can see the side walls. We got the fence on the side. The house is right there. In the back, it's a 5-car garage, and there's plenty of space on the site plan itself. Before I purchased the home, It was owned by Sisters of Charity. They had it for 42 years and they kept the home up very, very well. So this home was already kind of being utilized as what I'm kind of proposing, but just in a different aspect than here. And then if you want to go to the floor plan. So on number one, on floor plan, option one is where you got a 4 bedroom that's where you have the living spaces down there, 2 living spaces, the dining room and the kitchen. And then on number two, that's where you have the basement down there with the pantry. And then you have another restroom down there. And then, that's 3. And then on number two, that's where you have 4 bedrooms and there's 2 more bathrooms up there. And then that's where you have access to the attic on number 4. Next slide.
No, Healthy Transition Describe, are they a nonprofit or the organization you work for this? Is it an organization or nonprofit that's running this house or owning this house?
It's gonna be, it's an LLC.
It's a for-profit.
Yeah, for profit.
And are you part of this company?
Yes. Yep. So, a healthy transition. So this is one of the slogans that I came up with. And I'm gonna kind of explain it a little bit here. It just says transformation, home and care. Here's the mission statement. Transformation, home and care is an organization that is about transitioning one life and one moment from the next. With love, care, compassion, teamwork, great service, and growth, we will help the community embrace a positive, unbreaking chain of reaction based on the services we provide to our residents. Our team will not enforce a blindfold when it comes to meeting needs for transformation home and care residents. So the whole goal of this is to have residents that has a need that we need to meet and we want to meet. And we want to make sure that the resident is more of an asset in their life. We want to improve their social skills. We want to have them volunteer to places if that need be. And we want to make sure that they get jobs. We don't want them to come in a house to just stay. We want to get them back into the community with their families, with their loved ones. We want to improve their lifestyle of living. So that's the whole point of having the residents in this home. We want them to come as they is, but we don't want them to stay as they are. Then you can go to the next slide. So this is the living space number 1. And number 2, we have ample amount of room for activities to do with the residents inside the home and outside of the home. So we go to the next slide, please. That's the kitchen there. And the kitchen on the right-hand side, that's where the refrigerator sits over there. Go to the next slide. Here's what the restrooms I was speaking to here. That's the first picture, is the restroom on the first floor. The second picture is the restroom on the second floor. And the third picture is another restroom on the second floor because one of the bedrooms is a suite. Okay, so the first picture is bedroom number 1. It has 2 beds in there already. Bedroom number 2 is the suite. Bedroom number 3, it's kind of like in the front of the house, it's several things. So is the one for number 4, so we still got to assemble that bed. And next to that bed on number 3, as you can see, it has a remote on it. So the foot and the head goes back up, goes up and down. Be a real nice number. Here's the basement where you have the pantry. And photo number 1, number 2 is the half bath, and number 3 is the laundry space. And I also have another refrigerator that's already in the basement. So I have a total. All right. So picture number 1 is right directly in front of the house. Picture number 2 is more so the left side of the house to be facing forward. And then picture number 3 is the left side where you have the field area, the grass and the fences over there. And because it's gonna be a type 2 home, it's gonna be no alcohol, no firearm, no illegal drugs, anything that's harming anyone. It's not allowed in this facility.
Do you own additional facilities?
This is gonna be my first group home. I'm nervous and excited at the same time. Okay. To wrap up, so again, first floor, full kitchen, 2 bathrooms, recreation center, recreation space, 1 full bathroom, 1 dining. 4 bedrooms, 2 full bathroom, basement, pantry, laundry room, and half bath. Also, I'm already affiliated with another group home in Summit County, established right now. And also, I've been working at Metro Health for almost 17 years. We got 2 behavioral health systems at the facilities. And I'm already, have resources there that I'm already connected with. It's the relationship that I would have. So this facility is most definitely worth it. I have the resources. It's gonna be my first time, but I know it can be done. So,
Jake? Question.
Okay, we'll take questions later.
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, we are going to open it up. I don't know if you'd like to speak first. We have the councilman, and then we'll take public comment. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a letter to be read, to be entered in from the councilman to the members of the City Planning Commission. I'm requesting this letter be read into the record. I have an objection to granting of a conditional use for residential facility at 3122 West Boulevard. There are several reasons for this objection. Most importantly, there's not been significant community outreach to the immediate surrounding residents and businesses. The limited feedback I have heard from my residents has been overwhelmingly unsupportive. The next issue is the proposed facility's proximity to other similar structures who provide similar services. The Adams Board operates a large residential facility less than a quarter of a mile south on West Boulevard at 3234 West Boulevard. Of late, this facility has generated complaints with surrounding neighbors and nearby businesses. UCC Denison Church, located less than a quarter mile away at 9906 Denison Avenue, operates a food kitchen and shelter. It has of late generated many complaints from surrounding residents and businesses, and the manager of that operation is calling my office for help with their clients. In other words, there is a density of these facilities already in that neighborhood. Finally, both myself and my predecessors have been struggling in that particular area at or near the intersection of Lorraine and West Boulevard with various forms of criminal behavior ranging from drug use, human trafficking, all the way to horrific violent crimes. As a former member of the Adams Board, I am sympathetic to mental health issues and the needed treatment and housing for individuals who suffer with them. However, there is an overall sense in the community that these types of usages, if not extremely well monitored, contribute to negative impact on already critical situations. And then we had some questions and some concerns. Mr. Williams, is the property vacant at this time?
Yes,
Okay. And where is it that you live?
I live,
If it's okay, just in general, if you could address the chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, for the
Right,
chair.
yeah. So maybe ask your questions in total and then we'll.
Okay. There's mention that it was similar usage before. Actually, what it was utilized as for a retirement home for nuns. There was never more than 4 nuns living in it at a time. Towards the end, there was actually only 2. So it wasn't, used as mental health or drug recovery or anything like that. These were retired nuns from the church. Generally speaking, the community looks at these as for-profit endeavors. We don't even know who would be funding this. So that's a concern. It's a historic district too, which should be mentioned. 3234 West Boulevard, that's operated by the Adams Board. That was grandfathered in before the historic overlay was put on that area. There's a concern about proper vetting of the residents there. We would not be able to know necessarily what types of people and for what reasons they would be living there. We don't know if it's mental health or is it recovery based? We don't know, is there outside programs like ILPs and stuff like that that would have to be, monitored? We wouldn't know how long the residents would be staying, is it indefinite? That's a concern. Is this just transitory, like 2 months, 3 months, or are they there for years? So we haven't seen an outline plan for what the recovery is there. And the general concern from residents is that these are itinerant kind of situations where people come and go. We've seen these in the past. So it doesn't represent a community stakeholder type situation, whether it be a standardized type of rental or owner occupancy. You have people that are, again, they could be there 2 months, they could be there 2 years. There's not an investment in the community in terms of just generally how long these people live and what's the intention moving forward? Is this a stepped program, or is this just, they live there for a month and then they go somewhere else? There's a concern about 24-hour licensed healthcare professionals always with these, because we've had several in the past where there was the promise of that, but then it turns out that that doesn't really happen. And so again, where would these these licensed healthcare professionals come from? And what is their specialty? Again, if this is mental health, or if it's substance abuse recovery, there's a difference, and that's, likely there. And then, so where would the licensed healthcare professional stay inside the existing floor plan? There's gonna be 24-hour coverage. And a big question then too would be, is there a proposed change to this existing floor plan? Because I see that there's 3 bathrooms, but so are we housing 2 individuals in 1 bedroom? Is there a floor plan that's proposed to building and housing to take a look at, is it gonna change the existing floor plan? Because it's a large house, but it still is a 2-family house, so those are some of the concerns we had.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna open it up to public comment. So anybody online or here who's here to speak in favor of the conditional use? Anybody who is opposed, who'd like to speak or have a question? Not seeing anyone. You see anyone?
I don't see any trivia online, Madam Chair.
All right, we'll close the public portion. I'm going to ask that commission members have any questions or comments. I do have a procedural question. This goes to Boza regardless of today, or let's say if there was time to go to community meeting first, or it goes, the correct?
Sure.
There you go.
This is Xavier Bay, correct, Madam Chair, that regardless of the decision today, they would still require the Board of Zoning Appeals hearing for the variances that they need, being within 1,000 feet of another facility and not being within a multifamily zoning district.
Okay.
I will just add that they are scheduled for Monday for their Board of Zoning Appeals hearing.
Oh, so Shannon also mentioned if denied today, they would need to appeal the decision by CPC at Board of Zoning Appeals as well as seek variances. So there would be 2 kind of like
You're right. There-
cases, or not cases, but two things, right? So,
Yes.
yeah. So I'll add that, typically when these presentations have come before you, in the past, we have seen registered nursing members come forward about who's going to be on site 24/7. We do have more questions about who exactly the resident population they're seeking. And we do have concerns about the location, it being so close to the highway, as well as within, 3 others. So, generally speaking, we feel that it's not the right location for a facility like this.
Madam Chair, are we able to hear from the applicant to respond to some of the questions that have already been posed by the councilman's colleague? I think, well, I'll just say for my purposes, I think I have some of the same questions about like who is staffing the facility, who are the potential clients or residents that will be residing there. So
I don't know if you were comfortable addressing the questions that were asked about the specifics of the facility and also the healthcare workers. Also, have you had any community meetings or conversations with the neighbors?
I did not have any community meetings and comments with the neighbors. But as far as, because I heard what he said about the 24/7 operations and what happened with the past, I truly understand, but that wasn't me who oversees them homes. I can only be responsible for what I'm proposing now, and that's to have a 24/7 operation facilities with with residents that have mental issues. It's not going to be drug addictions. It's not going to be anything to that nature. It's just for people that's on medication that has a need that need to be met, and that's my plan on doing it. So that's, and then like I said, I have resources at the hospital I work with. So even with the guy that's in EAP, he's been doing it, dealing with this kind of patients for 30 something years. So I have his number to call him personally. The lady that works in behavioral health, the nurse manager, I have her number. I can go and see her anytime for always for resources and advice on how to make sure I'm proceeding the right way. So trust me, a lot of these thoughts has most definitely been in my head and make sure I wanted to have proper and right placement to make sure this project comes out right in the right way, to make sure this business flows right. And I understand all you guys' concerns. I hear you very clear. But this is something that's passionate for me to do. It's gonna be my first time. And like I said, I'm excited, I'm nervous at the same time, but my heart is in it. So I'll make sure that I have the right resources and the correct people in the home and make sure that it's being managed right. I take ownership in everything I do. Like I said, I've been at Metro Health for 17 years, almost 17 years in January. This is only my second or third job. I don't budge.
Madam Chair, for the presenter, how are you funding this project? Will you be receiving per diem from the state or how will you be funding?
It will be from the state.
Drew, do you have any questions or comments?
See any reaction from?
I have no question or comments. I think the applicant has made a good case, but I also hear from the resident. I think we've seen a number of these facilities come before. And to Joyce's point, I do believe that we've seen a professional who's going to be managing the facility come before the board, and because it's not here today, to the person from
It's like a bad Verizon commercial.
I think what I heard was is that in the past, we have seen the manager of the facility, for some. I think to the members, I think there's a couple of options. One would be to, we have two options with rates. Approve it, deny it, postpone it to allow for some more community process and also for more specificity to work with the councilman and the neighbors. But as of right, even if we postpone, we can go to the Board of Zoning Appeals for the requirements because that is the right of the applicant. So, but I do, from my perspective, I can't make a motion or second. It would be nice to have some of those specifics in writing and understood in a way so that I believe your passion and how excited you are and how you do this. The city, across the city, especially when there are multiple facilities within the catchment, right? One of the issues has been enforcement when people are not doing what they say what they want to do. So there would be a need to know specifically what, especially as this is permitted, what's going on there. And so that if for some reason you're not delivering on the promise, there is some recourse. So I think, so those are the three options.
Madam Chair, I think just to reflect, I want the applicant to understand from my perspective that you should not be responsible for inappropriate management of other facilities. But as a first time operator, I think just understanding the concerns that we and the councilman express are legitimate as it relates to what it takes to manage these type of facilities as someone that has worked in this field. So I agree with the chair as far as just having a little bit more specificity, and particularly on the long-term community building aspect of this. We want the residents that ultimately would be residing here, if this moves forward, to feel integrated into the neighborhood. And they can't do that if there's already opposition from neighbors. So it only behooves you to communicate with those that are in the surrounding area. Again, for the long-term gain of camaraderie among the residents that would be there and how neighbors and other businesses in the area will respond.
And also, Madam Chair, to the applicant, it's really important that you have your program outlined together from the time that they enter into the program and have an exit plan for each of the program participants. I too have worked in the field, so it's really important you have all of that together before you open up a residential treatment facility.
So I was gonna be close.
Yeah. I make a motion that we postpone this project.
Second.
Motion and second, we'll take the roll. What that means is if it's postponed is that if, you're able to come back when you've met, you've met some of the community requirements. We're not denying this. You can still go to Board of Zoning Appeals. But it's really to do some further work with the community and really putting the details down, on paper for everyone to know specifically how you're going to, operate the facility. So can we call the roll?
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. So, as you go through the process, you can get back on the agenda. We're meet every 2 weeks and hopefully you'll counsel and we'll work with this applicant to see what's possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, the next item.
You wanna do
Yeah.
inventory?
Okay.
You go through the
Is everyone here for this?
Yeah. Do we have books for inventory?
There are a few, we did help make very long. There are a few mandatory referrals that, need to go that are being presented by the city. So we're gonna jump to page 15 really quickly. And the first one is an unnumbered ordinance, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to the County Department of Public Works to encroach on the right of way at 156th Street, by installing and maintaining a 10-foot asphalt multipurpose trail. These can go pretty quickly if we need to. I think we know some of these kind of multiple paths, but just to make sure we get through them, so you don't have to spend too much time on them. Is that you?
Madam Chair, I don't think the presenters are here for this one.
Okay.
So we might need to jump ahead to, okay. Yeah, I have a guest here for, under point for referral.
Okay, let's just do that one and then we'll go back to the time review. So 8 is, we'll just do number 8 since they should come right here and then we'll come back. This is an unnumbered ordinance on page 22 authorizing the director of the mayor's office of capital projects to enter into a joint use agreement with the Green Garden Association in order to accept state capital funding to install a marble frieze in the garden. Looks like a culture garden to me.
Yes, it is, Madam Chair. Thank you. My name is Susie Amishner. I'm the Commissioner of Real Estate with the Mayor's Office of Capital Projects. And I have with me Jim Tracus, who is with the Greek Garden Association of Cleveland, a 501c3 nonprofit. And we are requesting that the legislation would give the Director of Public Works the authority to enter into a joint use agreement with the association that is needed to accept state capital funding in the amount of $250,000 that was awarded to the Greek Garden Association of Cleveland Incorporated to install a large stone frieze. It's made of natural stone. Just a little history, the Greek Cultural Garden was established in 1939 and with the intention of installing this frieze at the time. But due to shortages, because of the war, shortages of material, the Jim can probably fill you in a little bit more on those details. The frieze was never installed, and now the association has raised funding and has received a grant, which will be administered through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, which will help bring to fruition this wonderful public art piece. And ODNR requires that the city, as property owner, enter into a joint use agreement with the association in order that they can accept the funds and spend them on city property. And I'll let Jim say a few comments if he wishes to.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Thank you for allowing us to be here this morning. And thank you for taking our request a little earlier. For the record, my name is Jim Trinkus. I reside at 6924 Renton Drive in the city of Independence, 44131. Just to complement what Suzanne had to say, the Greek Cultural Gardens Association is a vibrant organization working with the cultural gardens. As we've talked about a little bit, in 1939, we had this vision, and my mother, who lived on Columbia Road in Cleveland, danced at the when they opened this. So the mayor of Cleveland was there, the governor was there, the Greek ambassador was there, the Archbishop from New York was there. So it was a very big cultural experience. They have a very large empty space right now where there should be a freeze. So Mr. Lou Frangus, president of the board, came to Cleveland City Hall, went to the records department, found the original art approved by the city, and we are now replicating that. We have a sculptor in Oberlin, Ohio, who is replicating that original frieze there. 30 Greek heroes of ancient times, people like Socrates and Plato and Hippocrates and others. And our intention is to improve the cultural benefit of the city so that we can bring people into the city to learn from these cultural experiences. So we plan to bring Cleveland Public school children from all across the region to go there. It's going to be an interactive display. So this is going to be a frieze made of natural stone granite. It's going to be a true gem for the people of the city of Cleveland. And but it's also going to be an educational opportunity. So we're going to have little areas where people can learn about what these individuals did, what their contributions to civilization were, and to the foundation of the American Republic. The city of Solon here in Cuyahoga County is named after General Solon of the Athenian army, and he'll be featured in there as well. He helped organize wards and precincts, which we have in the city of Cleveland right now. So we think it's going to be a cultural gem. We have about 150,000 in private funding with a goal of another 200,000, and we're working towards that goal. And the state of Ohio, in its generosity through House Bill 2, state capital improvements budget, did provide $250,000 in funding. Joint use agreement that we are requesting, Madam Chair, members of the committee, would simply allow the cultural garden to install this and allow construction to happen. And we, of course, work with the city on all permitting and everything we need to do.
Thank you. Great project. I'm curious, what's the name of the artist in Oberlin?
Nicholas
Okay.
Nicholas Fairweather. Not the Fairweather band of the
Yeah.
1980s.
And I will note for the record that this is in the landmarks commission area, so the design itself and the site planning will go through landmarks commission.
Oh,
Make a motion,
motion to approve.
approve?
Second.
Second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yeah.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
and Sargent.
He's trying to say yes.
Yes.
There you go. Motion carries. Great project. Congratulations. Can't wait to see it. I live in the area, so I walk there all the time. Can't wait to see it.
It was in Greek, Thank you very much.
All right, so I think we'll go back to design review, if that's okay. So we're going back to page 3. And this first item is in the near west design review. This is ordinance number 2024-016, Jefferson Hill Townhome. I think we saw this last week. So we can go pretty quickly as it's seeking final approval. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth is you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
I do.
This is just Jeff from Pado, yep.
Fedor Architects, 1220
Yeah.
West 6th Street. And then Garrett Allen, Walter Haverfield, 1500 West 3rd.
Okay.
And I do.
So, you know, maybe just because we saw this last week, did this go back through local? Is there any staff comments just so that they can go through it pretty quickly if we've met them?
Brittany Pavone, the neighborhood planner, there's some question.
Hello, Madam Chair. Brittany Pavon, your West Side City Planner. Yes, this received final approval last week. I think some keynotes to make with the whole entire project from its integrity. In the beginning, it looked a little different, and now we've addressed certain community concerns as well as committee concerns. They have added some safety measures as a speed bump coming from the retaining wall, which they also reduced 10 feet. They added some landscaping, step backs, as well as a staircase to connect to the community further for the frontage of the area. They've also changed the facade of that corner unit that was emphasized to face Jefferson.
Okay, thank you. So it was approved with that condition.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for you guys, just because we can move quickly, if you can just kind of hit the highlights of those things that were changed, especially since the last meeting, and that's really don't need the whole presentation again.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we won't go into the kind of the overall design, but a couple change. Really, the only change that you would have seen from our last meeting really is on the renderings. So if you want to go to the last, whatever slide has the renderings, which I believe is the last slide, we updated the materials of the retaining wall to reflect the actual material we're going to be used. We finalized that with our Ready Rock supplier on the color renderings.
It's taken a second.
Sorry.
Just technology.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Uh,
Computer needs to catch up.
Yeah. It's a little bit frozen.
So it has been an engaging process, and we have, as we had mentioned, we've made quite a few changes to reflect some of the concerns of the neighbors, and we feel like we've really achieved that. So the renderings that you see of the retaining wall itself, that reflects the actual material. It's meant to be more of a natural look to it. So what it does is it reduces the scale and reduces the size of that and makes it much more pedestrian and user-friendly as you walk past it.
Okay. See it. So
Well, no other changes from our last presentation.
Okay, thank you. Commission members, any questions?
Oh, Madam Chair, I will note for the record, we did receive comments by email. They did come a little bit later, so we couldn't get into Dropbox, but very similar letters to the last time, with two residents providing concerns. One from Mr. Mendo Bailoff and just what happened to me here. From the other, Mike Kosky, who, again, very similar concerns from last time. There are comments here if anybody would like to see.
I think a couple of those comments were based around trash locations as well. Totem rolls are going to be our means of trash collection. And we have an area in the visitor parking that will be dedicated on trash day for those, so they don't have to collect on the tree lawn or in the street.
Okay. And we heard from one of those residents last week, or like 2 weeks ago. Okay. Well, thank you. I know this is the third time we've seen this. You guys have done, quite a bit both with the community and with the staff and with the design review commission. And so, I think it's sometimes where design review helps, right? That's
Make a motion for approval of Jefferson Hill Townhomes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? I think Drew was here last time too. I was here, Drew was here. Yeah, so this was at our last meeting, we did conceptual or schematic approval. That's the third time we've seen that.
Yeah.
For third time, yeah. So they've done quite a bit of work. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I can say.
And a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Is that a no?
I believe that was a no.
No, motion carries. Is that a no, Drew? You must be, Drew, we have a bad connection with you. Is that a no?
Yes, it was a no.
Yes, it was.
3-1.
Okay, motion carries. The next item is Euclid Corridor. This is at, this is item number 2024-030. This is at Woodland Avenue. This is a billboard project seeking final approval. 9525 Woodland Avenue. So, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Okay. I think we might be hearing from staff or from Shannon first, is that correct?
I believe Shannon will be presenting.
Okay,
I will
so-
note that there are 2 billboards, so there's the next agenda item as well, which is the 3-4.
So,
the PowerPoint presentation is flipped.
okay, we'll put them, but, Shannon, maybe you could address both from the city's perspective and then we'll hear them and we'll have to vote separately, so, are you on, Shannon?
I am. Good morning, Madam Chair, and commission members. So this is a proposal to remove, to essentially replace the 2,600 square foot non-illuminated billboard at the corner of West 25th and Detroit Avenue and replace it with a 50-foot tall monopole with 378 square foot digital LED billboard fronting along the southeastern side of Opportunity Corridor per the court order. This specific property is right outside the form-based code district. It's still zone general industry, B3, and it's in the Opportunity Corridor Design Review District. Next slide, please. Why is this application here? As you know, city planning has the jurisdiction to vary the sign code to be more strict or less strict than what generally is required under 350. The things that you're looking at for standards is design compatibility, may vary if such variation will result in signage better suited to the design of the subject property or nearby properties. Any variation from regulations shall be approved in accordance with design review guidelines adopted by this commission and city council and minimum variation. Next slide, please. And so this is the location of this proposed site for the monopole. The height restriction here is 115 feet, so they don't need a height variance. Next slide, please. This is the essentially what it's going to look like. Next slide, please. Again, these are some renderings that Mr. Bowen can walk you through. Next slide, please. So the variances that are needed for this specific billboard is that billboards or advertising signs are not permitted in any design review district. They are, anytime that you're on a road that's not a freeway and you're greater than 100 square feet, you have to be at least 1,000 feet from another existing billboard. There is an existing billboard along Quincy across the street, and then billboards shall essentially not be illuminated. And this one is a automatic digital copy panel sign. And so those are the 4 variances that are required for this particular billboard that again is under the court order court settlement case for the removal of the oversized billboard on Detroit and West 25th. Thank you. And this is for the first billboard. I have another presentation for the second one because it's different.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that one now too. So is this the same PowerPoint that I'm gonna go through? Or is my other one coming up?
Yeah, David, these are all the slides that you had provided for this particular billboard.
All right, so go back to the rendering. There you go. You can talk.
Go up. That's the next one.
There. Before you go, Director, do you want to say anything about why we're seeing these 2 billboards that would give some context to the commission members? I think that would help and, provide an unusual context for, I think for you guys about, we don't normally see these, but there's a larger context.
Right, so typically we don't support the addition of new billboards along corridors such as this, but as mentioned, this will be replacing a large billboard at the corner of West 25th Street in Detroit, which is the site of the Irish Town Bend Park. And because of ongoing litigation with the city and that particular property owner, part of the solution is to find new location. And so the 2 before you you today is the final resolution of the billboard seeking that has been happening over the past 4 or 5 years. And so
And we've already approved.
we've approved two,
These
we've
are the
approved one in the
last two.
flats, we've approved one in the entertainment district downtown.
So we, I don't know if you recall, we approved 2 downtown. These are the last 2 that are part of that agreement. So, okay, go ahead.
You want me to start?
Mhm.
Is this my PowerPoint presentation? Because there's one that starts off with the proximity of each other, just putting.
Xavier, it's the first slide.
It's the one Shannon showed
Yeah.
right there.
Here we go. Perfect.
Sorry.
Okay, I did this in context. So the bottom one is the one that's by East 75th Street. The top one is the one that, even though it's closer to Quincy than any other street, both on Opportunity Corridor, it's a 1.4 miles away from each other. So that kind of gives you context how close they are to each other. So they're pretty far apart. Next slide, please. Okay, so this shows in 2 images where they are in comparison to the Opportunity Corridor. As you can see, this is a long, narrow piece of property that the city owns. Why it's addressed at Woodland is the wider part is closer to Woodland. The top part where the billboard's closest to is actually Quincy. Next slide, please. This shows the sign itself. It's 50 feet to the top of the sign. The signs are 10 feet, 6 inches by 36 feet. Next slide, please. This shows you in context. The first one is the one going northbound. And then the other one to the right is going southbound. This is kind of a typical digital sign. I think that's the end of this slides.
If I could make a quick comment about the location, if you go back to the site plan or the overhead, you'll see that, this particular parcel is quite long and skinny. We will be pursuing parceling off this portion. It is not wide enough for any other development, and so we feel that the placement of this would be appropriate for this particular area.
Would be parceling it off like the right side, right part of the slide.
One closest to Woodland.
So meaning the bottom portion of this parcel could be developable on the southern side. Got it. Okay. Commission members, any questions or comments? I do believe that if we approve this, we have to state a rationale, and I think just to prevent, other billboards, if we approve it, we would need a motion that would state that, this, Shannon has to say something too. That something about the context of the unusual nature of the litigation that's providing rationale for this as opposed to why we wouldn't do it otherwise. Deanna, did you want to say something else? Or was that an act?
No, you nailed it, but my hand stuck, so I apologize.
Hopefully it's not like really.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay.
I'll take a step. I make a motion that we approve the billboard because it is replacing an existing billboard. And what other legal? That it?
I would just say in
Variances.
and the
Great
variance.
variances that are stated
Okay.
and are necessary.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second,
Call the roll.
Anthony,
yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carries. The second one is 272 East 75th Street. This is also seeking final approval. We can just go ahead and have you show those slides and then we will go
And
to.
while you were on that first slide, for the record, I don't represent Richard Bowen and Associates here. I represent Bowen Construction Services, which is a separate corporation.
Yeah.
our architectural firm doesn't do standalone billboards.
Thank you for noting. We'll make note of it.
Okay. Are you the developer of the project?
No, Tony George is.
Right, but I mean, what, you said construction, are you doing the construction?
I am doing some of the construction.
Okay, so it's a construction side, but you're representing the project,
Yes.
not design. All right, so go ahead and share this site.
Okay, so what you see here is where the billboard sits in comparison to Orlando Bakery. Tony George has had a number of conversations with the Orlando's, obviously. It's 65 feet off of 75th Street and 25 feet off of the Opportunity Corridor. This is going to be a monument type sign. It's going to look like a monument sign. So that was pretty important because we want to stay in context with what else is going on. Next slide, please. This is you, Shannon. Oh, okay, I'll do this. So, and I have some images because the samples didn't come in. So this is going to be a stone base to it. This is the stone that we're going to be using. And when the samples come in, I'm happy to be that with staff to, so they can actually see the stone in context with the building behind it. So again, this sign is 10 feet 6 inches by 36 feet. The stone base is 6 feet tall, and it will be capped with a metal skirt before the sign starts, which is 2 feet. Next slide, please. And then this gives you the images, one eastbound and one westbound, which you can see the sign in context with on the right hand side. The left hand side, you can see it with Orlando Bakery in the back. Then on the right hand side, you can see it going away from Orlando Bakery. I consider south, even though it says westbound. Next slide. Okay, so there's the stuff Shannon needs to do.
Shannon, you want any additional?
Yeah, good morning, Chair. So the variances here are a little bit different than the previous proposal. Again, this is to replace the 2,600 square foot billboard that is currently on Irishtown Bend that needs to be removed for the stabilization of the hillside. And so this is the culmination of that process of about 2 to 3 years. But again, this is in the Urban Innovation Campus District, which is in the form-based code, and our form-based code relies on the sign code of 350. And so in this case, billboards are not permitted in this district. 350.10, again, they are not allowed to be permitted within 1,000 feet of another, and they are within 1,000 feet of an already existing billboard. They shall be only illuminated by a continuous reflected light. Internally illuminated or backlit billboards are not permitted. They should not include automatic changeable copy. Obviously, the sign is automatic changeable copy. It's a monument sign. However, you all have the ability to vary the location, replacement sign, if it makes sense according to the City Planning Commission. So those are the 4 variances that are needed for this particular sign.
Okay. A question, Council, once again, need a motion that would include the variances and also the context if this is related to the litigation.
Yes, that would be very helpful.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion that it's approved to replace another existing billboard according and follow the variances required according to code 350 and the ones up underneath it.
Second. Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray, Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next item is design review, in the Central Southeast Design Review 2024-028. This is a demolition of a residence at 2924 East 61st Street. Either online or here, Lorenka? Right?
Yes, I'm here
Do you swear to-
online.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Let's see this slide. Take it away.
So, I was hired, I'm with Valora Construction, a demolition company, and I was hired by a private owner. Her name is Sharon Rayner. She wants her property at 2924 East 61st Street demolished. Next slide, please. So the full address is 2926 East 61st, Cleveland 44127. PPN 1250231. Next slide, please. Thank you. There, as far as I know, there are no legal issues. I know that the property was officially condemned on April of 2024, making it as unfit for occupancy. Previously, on March of 2023, the city had boarded up the property to secure it and prevent any unauthorized entry. The owner wants the property down and just wants to have, for right now, a leveled site with quality seed and straw, and to ensure grass growth and to ensure that the area remains well maintained for future development. Next slide, please. Thank you. This property is located within a residential area bordered by several streets. To the north is 62nd Street, to the south is 60th Street, and to the east is South Park Boulevard. The western side consists of additional residential areas leading into nearby neighborhoods. To the north of this property, there is a two-story commercial property located at 6005 Francis Avenue, and I believe it's the only commercial property in that area. Next slide, thank you. And these are the front and rear photos of the property that I took. These are the left and right side of the property. Photos of the property. Next slide, thank you. These are the interior photos. As you can see, the roof is completely deteriorated. A major clean out is needed. There is no heating system, no plumbing. Look, it's in a really bad shape.
Can you address, Southeast, did have a condition about the trees?
Yes.
Were you okay with that? Can you talk a little bit about and cleaning out the underbrush?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. We will maintain all existing trees and clear out all the existing underbrush. Absolutely. We're okay with that.
Okay. Will you also be removing the apron?
We will, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, make a motion to approve the demolition of 2924 East 61st with the conditions as laid out.
A second. Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
and Grace Hess?
Yes.
Sergeant?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item is in Central Southeast. This is 2024-022 14700 Miles Avenue Gas Station. This is seeking final approval. It's Omar and Carlton Moore. We swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. As you shall answer to the penalty of perjury.
Yes.
I don't. Come on up. Well, you can sit.
Oh, no, it's
Are
fine.
you sure?
If I fall over, I know.
Okay, well, if you're on a chair, I'm gonna cheer for you.
Who's gonna catch?
All right. So this was given schematic approval, and their staff for this, or we'll wait till after. Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon. If you can pull up our first slide here. This is the location at 100 I'm Carlton Moore. I'm representing Omar, who is owner of this property. It presently was a salvage yard. Their family took over this property and intends to develop it, located on, right now we're looking at the corner of 147 miles, which shows the property as it exists. That's the existing building that's on the property. We're going to remodel and you'll see in the next week. Another example of what's there currently and how bad it looks. That's the entrance driveway into the property. Now we get to the good part. We're going to take this entire site here and convert it from a previous salvage yard into a gas station convenience store. On this side, even behind the convenience store building there where it's facing the gasoline and fueling pump, behind that are 4 other buildings that are owned by the owner. And that's part of phase 2. The desire is to open up the convenience store gas station facility as phase 1 of this project. And then the other 4 buildings that they own and control, we will develop that into commercial space. But we will work with the community. We have no intended use for those first 4 buildings. We will work with the local development corporation and the council person to find what would be the best types of uses for those 4 buildings. But currently, we're going to do the new, take the existing building there and remodel it and bring in a convenience store with gasoline fueling as well as diesel fueling, because we're in this parcel of land and this location is zoned in semi-industrial district, which a gas station is permitted in that district. And we recognize the fact that there are a lot of trucks in that area, so we're bringing in diesel as well as EV chargers for this location. Next slide, please. This is an elevation of the building as we intend to remodel it. On the bottom, you see the west elevation, which is where you will be approaching the convenience store and walking in. Next elevation is the south elevation. The north elevation faces directly on Miles Avenue. Next slide. This is a perspective drawing of what we intend to do with this location. It will be branded gasoline with Marathon. We've created a courtyard right along Miles area so that people can sit down and enjoy the food and beverages that will be sold in the store. Since the building, we wanted to keep the building pedestrian friendly so that as you're walking along Miles Avenue, you can walk directly into the store from Miles Avenue without having to cross any driveway entrances. One thing important about this project, if you can go back to the first slide, site plan.
Site plan here?
Yeah, we chose to only have 2 driveway entrances into this property so that we will eliminate the conflict of a person walking on the sidewalk with cars. Typically with a parcel of this land, you would want at least 2 driveway entrances along Miles and definitely along East 146th Street. We brought the driveways away from the corners where people are walking. The driveway on Miles Avenue is controlled by a traffic light that's there, so it gives an opportunity anyone walking in, they can avoid conflict with car pedestrian by the controlled traffic light there. We only have 1 driveway entrance on East 146th Street. That way we eliminate that conflict of people walking and getting into the
Are
property.
you, in the rendering of the existing, are you removing the concrete block wall?
Oh, yeah, all of that.
That's okay. Good.
Go back to the first
You know,
slide.
I saw it, I just
Yeah,
wanted,
it
I
looks-
saw it.
We
are
are
removing
all the way back to the first slide.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all of
All
that.
that's gone.
All of that.
Okay.
It looks bad.
Yeah.
We know it looks bad.
Okay.
We want to open up the site. Now go back to the perspective of the building. All of that's coming back. Next slide. That's the existing building we're remodeling. That's the elevation. That's what it's going to look like when we finish. Typically, if the city of Cleveland only requires 6-foot landscape strip, we're doing 10 feet so that we can make this look a lot better than what it's normally done. Next slide, please. That's another angle showing our landscaping and how the existing building will be remodeled and the color scheme that's being used. One of the things, next slide, please. Next slide, please. The last slide. One of the things that was brought up in, we've gone before design review for this district. We've met also with the councilman. We've had community meetings, and we've had several meetings with the local development corporation. And one of the things that they mentioned when we first came up with the design, they said that it was too bland, that they needed color. And so when they said to me, you want color, I said, well, we're gonna give them color. So the existing building that's there, we're proposing doing a mural on that wall with local artists. Either through local artists within the city or either John F. Kennedy High School is right up the street. The owner has agreed to consider using the students and come up with how we can make that existing building pop with color. This is what we're proposing. Not the actual design, but that's what art is. When someone says to me, we need color, this is what our solution was. And that backdrop is right where our outdoor seating area is located at. With that, I beg and
Is there anything from staff?
I'm the city planner for the southeast side, so I can affirm that they were at the local CDC, which is Harvard Community Service Center. We had a community meeting, the councilman was there as well, and we wanted to get feedback from the community before I had them come to CPC. They've been ready since August, I think, when they got schematic approval at the design review level. So I wanted to make sure that, residents knew, because due to the fact that it's in the industry, they're permitted to do this by right, but I wanted to make sure to have some community feedback, and they did implement some feedback from the community into their final design. So here we are.
I just want to say thank you. I mean, it's rare that people go above and beyond. The landscaping, we're always fighting about less curb cuts. I think that just kind of based on what was there and what this will do, I just want to commend you on that.
That's one of the things that when I sat down with the owner, I let them know that I worked with the city planning department. I understood the direction in which they wanted to go. And if the owner was not willing to go in that direction, I said, we don't have a project. There's no point in us walking in to the city of Cleveland planning department or its own variances. We have to come before the planning commission with doing something that was done in the past, because you're wasting their time. So they were more than happy to go along with the new direction that the city of Cleveland's planning department wants to see.
I mean, they real enhancement. Thank you.
Yes.
Make a motion for final approval, gas station.
Second.
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carried. Talk to anybody again.
Next week, I'm gonna
Just go across the holiday, perfect, right there.
Just one comment.
Yes.
If you could change the price of the gas.
Bold renderings.
I saw that. Forecast.
I just have an electric car. Are they,
Yes,
fast chargers?
Yes, we do have electric EV chargers.
Are you gonna do are you doing the DC fast or the?
It has to be fast.
Okay,
And there's opportunities with the state in terms of
the DC fast.
the DC fast and options, so and also First Energy's right behind us, so we'll see what we can get over.
All right, I'll be hanging out there.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, you have to wait. You have to send your car. All right, the next item is Central Southeast 2024-030 Breakthrough Schools Gymnasium Edition. This is final approval at 9201 Crane Avenue. Hi, Carter.
Good morning.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Okay.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for having us this morning. My name is Carter Edmond. I'm an architect. I'm the director of design for Bruce Brothers Construction. And I'm the architect of record for this project. Bruce Brothers will be the designer and builder of this project. And we're here representing Breakthrough Schools. I think we may have a couple of representatives of Breakthrough Schools on the line here.
We have another technical difficulty.
Yes, sorry, Madam Chair.
Do you have to restart the computer or something?
No, it's coming up right now.
Yeah. Sorry.
Juan, are you on?
It's okay, go ahead. If we can get one here, we will.
That's right. So the project before you today is the gymnasium addition to the Breakthrough Schools Woodland Hills campus at the corner of Union and East 93rd. As I go through and describe the project, I'll try to mention and describe what we responded to in the design review comments. This is the general entry rendering. We'll start by getting you oriented to the site and where we are, what the existing conditions are.
Sorry for the delay.
So the site, as I mentioned, is along East 93rd Street, the southwest corner of East 93rd and Union Avenue. There's an existing school. The original school building there was built in 1969, was a CMSD school. It's been taken over. It's now operated by Breakthrough Schools. There's an addition on the northeast portion of the existing school building that was built by Breakthrough Schools in 2019. And our construction site is there to the west, on the sort of northwest corner of the existing school. There, you can see there are some existing structures shown on that. In the upper left, in the Google image, there's a residence and a funeral home, which have since been purchased and demolished by Breakthrough Schools. So you can see in the lower left, that's a vacant parcel. There's an existing garage, which is owned and used by Breakthrough Schools and continue to be owned and used, after we build our addition. But that red highlighted area is the area of new construction. The site access is primarily from the south, from Crane Avenue. There are curb cuts on the west on East 91st and 2 curb cuts to the north on Union Avenue, which will be removing and filling the sidewalk. And the northeast portion of the site, that is staff and faculty parking. And I'll describe how the pickup and drop off happens here, because that's an important part of how the block works. Breakthrough Schools owns the entire block with the exception of the northwest corner where there's an existing 3-bay self-serve car wash, and the southwest corner where there's an existing residence and garage. And the next slide, we'll see a couple more aerial views just to help get oriented. These are from the 4 cardinal views. I will sort of point out something salient from kind of each of these. In the upper left, you see the view from 93rd looking west. So the primary facade of the building is on 93rd. You can see the new addition there with the blue metal panel and the split face block. So our addition is behind that. So it's not that prominent from 93rd. It's much more prominent from Union Avenue. So in the upper right, you see the view looking south from over Union Avenue, and that extension to the right of the existing school is where the gymnasium is located. The lower left view looking east from over 91st gives you sort of an orientation of the parking lot. Primary circulation for pickup and drop off, which as you can imagine is a pretty heavy traffic time, is that the parents or the caretakers come eastbound on Crane Avenue. So up in this picture, turn left along the existing school, and then left again and come out on 91st. And that circulation will not change. Obviously, there's a lot of queuing that happens there. That circulation works for them, and we won't be changing that. The next slide is just the survey. It shows there are multiple parcels here which are currently gone through survey for the lot consolidation. So that's in process. The lot consolidation will need to be in place before the final permit is issued. This is currently in for permit for foundations and underground work and rough grading only. And we'll be submitting a separate permit package for the rest of the construction. Okay, so this is the overall site plan, the area within the dotted line, and that's our scope of work. Outside of that, we're essentially leaving everything alone. I will say, I just met with the fire marshal right before this. We have gone through PETFOP, got some comments about fire access. So we are working through some of the details of that. We may be doing some modifications to some of the curb cuts on the south and west just to increase the radius for fire trucks. Other than that, everything outside this dotted line we're leaving as existing. So what you see there is a new field house or gymnasium with some offices that serve as a connector between the new and existing. Around that, there's some green space with some trees, a new drop-off drive, a new sort of entry plaza. By way of pointing out some of the design review comments, we had originally shown a couple of trees on the south side of the field house. They asked us to add some trees on the north side along the street, which we're obviously happy to do. And asked us to align those with the architectural bay structure of the gym, which is also done. The entry plaza went through some modification based on the design review comments, including the kind of configuration of green space versus paved area. We'd originally shown sort of a lawn there, but they pointed out that that really conflicted with the natural pedestrian desire lines. We got rid of that, but we're going to reintroduce some green space. And this new configuration, we think really works well for the circulation. That circle in the middle is just an area of concrete that will be tinted a different color. So that's all flat and the green space around it. We will be working with the school's landscapers on what sort of plantings and things might go in there. They have some really nice landscape planted areas. So we want to make sure we work with the people who kind of curious to take care of that so that it works for them. The next page is the same view, but it's shown with some radiuses and so forth, which are really more relevant for fire access. But suffice to say, we're going to comply with the requirements for that. So we'll zoom in a little bit to the floor plan, just to show you what's going on in the building. Currently, the school uses a sort of one-story multi-purpose room as a gymnasium, which is not really adequate, but they sort of make do with what they have. And this will provide a really proper full-height gymnasium with a basketball court, with a proper athletic wood floor. So that's obviously the larger space to the left. The basketball court, retractable bleachers. Part of the idea is that this would serve as more than obviously just a gym. Breakthrough Schools is really committed to the community and to serving the community in whatever way they can. So this could be used off hours for other public events, could be concerts for the kids, could be community meetings. They could have voting there, and it's designed so that it can be operated independently of the school. It's actually, we're calling it an addition, but it's actually a completely separate building. There will be a fire separation, a 2-hour firewall between new and existing buildings. The new building will have its own fire service. It's a standalone building from a code perspective, but they will function seamlessly together. Let's walk through the plan briefly. The existing building is approximately 3 feet above grade where our entry is going to be. So if you're coming from the existing building and you're at a little bit higher level, there's student restrooms there at the higher level, and there's steps and a lift to get down to the lower level. On the lower level, there are 3 offices, teachers' offices, basically some storage, a couple single user restrooms. And then at the north end, there's a multi-purpose classroom, which could be used for multiple purposes, but it also supports the PE and athletic programs. There's also some support spaces there, storage and a sprinkler room and so forth. So pretty straightforward floor plan. Main entrance is there to the south, that double door leading to the south. There are egress entrances also in other areas of the building, but the primary entrance will be to the south. The elevations of the building are pretty straightforward. We will be replicating materials from the 2019 edition. We'll be using the same split face concrete masonry and the same profiled blue metal panels, which fits in with their branding. Another comment that we received from design review at the south elevation, which is the bottom, which is really the primary facade. We had shown the signage down in the lower portion of the building with black lettering. They pointed out that the other side of the building is aluminum or aluminum-like coloring. So we moved it up to make it more visible, changed the coloration of that. So it's a little bit more prominent, a little bit easier to see. So that, on that same south elevation, you can see there's that sort of storefront area with the main entry there. The elevation just above that is the north elevation that would face Union Avenue. We have clerestory windows. We want to bring natural light in. We want to have some light on the facade, but obviously we want to have windows down low in the gym. And then the multi-purpose windows. The west elevation in the upper right just faces the garage that the football belongs. The next page, we'll see some existing photographs. So this is the upper photograph is from East 93rd Street. Again, this is the primary facade of the building now. It looks a little washed out. That blue panel is really more of a, a navy blue or a richer blue than how it appears here. But that's the materials we'll be replicating in the new building. Another view from Union Avenue, just showing how the 2019 building relates to the 1969. So here's kind of a side-by-side, the existing 2019 on the left photograph and the rendering of the proposed addition on the right. So there is the split face CMU and the profile metal panel. I also want to point out the clear anodized aluminum window and door framing, which is on the original building and on the new building, which we're also replicating in ours. And also the detail at the soffit overhang with the dark fascia and the light colored underside of the soffit, which will also be replicated in the canopy and the gym roof. This also gives a little sense of that entry plaza in front of the storefront entry there. So this is the view from Crane Avenue. This would be where you would be going for the pickup and drop off. So you'd be driving here, making that left turn. If you look kind of all the way down the facade of the existing building, there's that little dark rectangle. That's a double door, which is currently and will remain the primary pickup and drop off door where students come out and get picked up. So cars drive up, they queue up along here, they queue up along Crane Avenue, then they take a left and come out along 91st. So typically they turn right, then right again on Union, and out the 93rd. Again, that traffic flow will not change. This would be the point of pickup and drop off. There's that door to the right that the students will come out. There are a couple steps and a ramp here to make up the grade difference. But it also shows that the drop off for the gym is right there too. So you could separate those two functions. You could have a function at the night where they're dropped off and it can be a, say this.
It's okay, I'm sorry to push you along a little bit.
Yeah.
Could you address the two conditions? I think you're starting to get there. Replacing the striped asphalt pavement in the parking area with increased concrete walkway, mountable curb for fire truck movement. And then the second one was finish the pedestrian canopy for pedestrian movement. And I assume that's here.
Yeah, that's
So can you just address both of those? And I think we've probably seen enough at that point.
So the question with the striping and the asphalt in this area. So right now, everything you're looking at is basically asphalt. And there was a question from PEPOT. I remember we talked about this area with the design group, but also from PEPOT, there was a question about getting truck access onto this area and whether we would need a rolled curb and basically either move the entry drive closer and eliminate the parking here, or make this as an area that the fire trucks can drive up. We've done IFC review on the dimensions and radiuses that we have here. And this is something that I've reviewed informally with the fire marshal this morning. We believe we're well within our requirements for radius trimming and distance. We do not need to have the fire trucks come directly against the building. So this is the way that we're proposing this. One of the other things, and I'm sorry, I will speak along here. This is the north elevation. I just want to point out that it shows kind of the continuity of scale between some of the existing buildings along 93rd. One of the other things that we can go to the last slide. That design review had mentioned was building lighting. So obviously we'll have the site lighting required for the parking lot, but also building lighting. So we did talk to them and we're adding building down lighting, which is actually kind of similar to what the existing building has. So with that, add the rest of.
You wanna say anything?
I do have a comment, again, Kenya Gray, Southeast Side City Planner. And I helped him through this process, he came through design review, I think he was ready late September.
Yeah.
So schematic approval, but I think this would be a good addition to the area. The gymnasium will give the community more things to do. It'll also give them a more central location to vote. I know that was something that was important this past couple weeks. People around there didn't really have anywhere immediately that they could go to vote. I also attended this school, Woodland Hills, back in the day, so it's kind of near and dear to me. And I think the addition is pretty nice, and I think it'll be good for the community moving forward. So I'm in support of it.
Because this is an addition, we think it should just go for final.
Okay. So this will be for final approval. We've addressed the condition, so.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion for final approval for the Central Southeast, for the Great East Schools Gymnasium.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions?
Ms. McRae, Scott, would you like to add the conditions to your motion?
Oh, sure, yes, with the conditions that were outlined by the Southeast Central Committee. With the asphalt pavement in the parking area and the concrete walkway. The phenomenal curb for fire truck movements and also changing the finish of the pedestrian concrete canopy or the canopy columns for pedestrian movement.
Add a second there.
Second.
Call the vote.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray, Scott, and Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
So
And
much
I'd like
to
to thank Kenny for his help too.
Thank you. Next item is Fairview Hospital, paint shop demolition, seeking final approval. This is the 17840 Lorraine Avenue. Chris from Karpinski, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
I do.
This was approved for the condition that grass is planted and using gravel. And so if you could address that as well.
Yes, I'd first like to thank everyone for the opportunity to present this morning for the demolition of the existing paint shop building over there across from Fairview Hospital on behalf of our client, Fairview Hospital. We're proposing to remove the existing building that's shown kind of hatched in the red and yellow there. The existing property today, which is between West 179th and West 178th and bounded by Lorraine Ave on the south, is an existing parking lot that's used for caregivers at the hospital to park and cross the street. The intent after this building has been raised is to just keep this lot, as is, as a parking lot for the caregivers due to just parking overall on the clinic property there. The site north of it is residential. However, there is a city right away, I believe it's 12-foot wide, narrow alley that runs between our property and the neighbors. There is an existing wood fence located along the north property line that will remain along with the vegetation there to provide the screening that's been there for years. If you can kind of go along through, scrolling through, we do probably have a lot of extra pictures, but if you want to scroll through the slides here, you can kind of see the surrounding neighborhood. This is on 179th looking south back towards the hospital. This is looking at the property to the north of the parking lot and paint shops on the right there. If we can go on to the next slide, please. This is looking at 178th towards Lorraine. There at one time was an exit there, but there currently now it's blocked off with bollards, and there is a gate access control for workers off of West 179th. If we go to the next slide. Skip this one. Not sure how that one snuck in, but that's development going on to the parcel that's across the street from us. This is looking from West 178th, looking east or westward. This is the property behind it at the northeast corner of the parcel. Next slide. And then this is looking down 178 just from the street, parcel and properties on the left side to give you a context of the neighborhood in the back. Next slide, please. Some photos taken on the inside. This building was used for a while as just a maintenance kind of storage building for the clinic maintenance staff. And as you can see, we're looking to, tear it down. It's a one-story existing building. Next slide. It's kind of more photos of the inside, kind of looking at the properties adjacent to it on the left and right side of the site. Next slide, please. It's the building in question that we're taking down is shown in the pictures on the left there. One story, looks like 1960s vintage architecture there, but you can see the staff parking there. And the intent is once this building's coming down, I know the Far West Design Review Board recommended that we add in grass. Originally, we were proposing just to bring gravel up to grade. But we will comply with that and put grass in where the building once was. Next slide, please. And then this kind of looking from West 178th Street, looking westward at the building, kind of can see the existing, landscape trees in the back of the property that will remain. Next slide, please. And, the following slides were just the drawings that we'll plan on. One, we have to revise to show the grass instead of the gravel, which is currently shown on here. But this is what we intend to submit to the building department once we receive approval from Planning Commission. If you can go on to the next slide. You can see we kind of will grade everything flat back out. We'll put up stormwater pollution prevention just to make sure, during the removal and, while the grass is germinating, that no soils wash off into the surrounding storm sewer system. Next slide. And then just kind of our usual standard typical details. I believe this is probably the last slide. A few more standard, just engineering type details for erosion control.
Okay.
Next slide.
Thank you. Staff report.
So Reed Wallace from National County Office had no concerns.
No concern.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except for the condition of the grass.
Yep. So we just need pretty straightforward to include that condition if we approve it.
Make a motion? Make a motion for demolition final approval. However, that grass be planted instead of using gravel for the existing building.
Second.
Rich, on second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
McRae Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
He's on mute. Drew. Drew. Do you have a he's really in a bad way. So everybody else, motion carries. All right, thank you. The next
Thank you very much.
next item is signage in downtown Flats, 1250 Old River Road, Suite 1300. This is requires a variance since it's roof signage. So I have Ilana and Aja, or that's it from Agile Sign. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, that you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Okay, how are you? Okay. Did this go to local?
Yes.
Is it approved?
Correct.
No condition?
Yeah, and I'll give you a little rundown after she.
Okay, it just doesn't say in here. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, good morning. We are proposing a set of illuminated channel letters on the building. You can go ahead. Next slide.
It's pretty enough, but if you want, you could just kind of start off.
Okay.
And we'll get
It's like I said, it's a LED illuminated channel letters reading further. We plan on putting LEDs in there with RGB so that the client can change the color of the channel letters. during the different seasons and promotionals within the city. We have a night view showing what that will look like when it is lit at night on top of the roof. We'll be installing it from an existing structure that has been there for a very long time. We plan on painting and welding a couple new pieces of strut on the back to enforce it a little more because of the channel letters that we're putting on it. We have a drawing showing the LED layout and how the LEDs are placed in the letters with the power supplies. You can keep going, sit down. And keep going, but
What is further?
they are an IT tech firm. So they plan on making their mark and. Engineering drawings.
It was like additional signage, that's why I didn't say it. So funny, I was like, further signage,
Yeah.
additional signage.
Next slide. Next slide. Here are some examples of rooftop signage around the city of Cleveland, Port of Cleveland. Next slide.
There's a lot of background slides, so.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Just keep going.
Okay, this was a restaurant called the Watermark, showing that the existing structure did have channel letters. So we plan on putting the channel letters up there, so additional photos showing of how the building was used back in the day. There's lots of nice photos that we found of that area.
You can just scroll through these.
It's a technical delay.
For some reason, it doesn't want to go forward, but it goes back.
You exit and.
Yeah.
Members, you feel you have enough context?
Yeah.
There we go.
Maybe while we're getting up the final renderings, we can make some comments about design review.
There's also a variance, as a
Yes.
representation of variance.
So I just want to give a brief background and first kick off, Madam Chair, members of the commission, Dan Schenkel, Downtown Flats Administrator. Cleveland Inc. did put in a letter of support saying they're excited about further and seeing their this growing tech startup industry coming to the flats. The project was originally tabled a little while back. We were requesting some additional information. The applicant worked very closely with us to get additional information. We were just concerned about, if every other tenant in the building wanted a rooftop sign, then we got a whole bunch up there. So we got confirmation that this will be the only one on top of the building. No other rights to other tenants are there. We also got confirmation on the percentage occupancy that Further has. They're on the whole top floor. There won't be any other signage for the project either. And we did ask for additional context photos. Leon's done a very nice job pulling those together. And you guys also sent in to the property manager, just clarifying the rights of that. So that project was reviewed by Downtown Flats Committee with no conditions.
And this is the rendering, and the rendering, yeah.
So what are variances required?
Yes, Madam Chair, this is Xavier Day, City Planning. The variances needed are having a roof sign outside of a semi-industry district. So roof signs are first permissible in semi-industry districts. The property location is in a limited retail business district. So you have your same, reasons why it's coming to planning commission. You're looking at the design compatibility guidelines and minimum variation from the sign code.
It's great that it's facing the river and it's not for the design compatibility perspective.
I do like the idea. New tech company, are they moving to Cleveland or are they here existing already?
I believe they are around.
Or they're around, yeah.
We can look further into it.
They can look
Catch me at 8 p.m. tonight.
Or further. All right.
My turn. We will move to approve further signage. with the conditions as laid out for the variance needed for a roof sign in a limited retail business district.
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
and Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carried. Yeah, you sound much better there.
Stay where you are.
Thank you, congrats. All right, we have 3 murals, that are being done by Donald Black Jr. Is Donald on? Oh, there you are. Welcome. Hi, Donald.
Morning.
So I'm going to swear you in for all 3.
Okay.
So you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
There you go. So we'll go through them one at a time, but we'll have you sworn in for all 3. So the first one is at 3830 East 131st Street. This is at the Clayton Public Library branch. It's a mural seeking final approval. And I think they'll pull up the slide.
So we started off our presentation. So I'm Donald Black Jr. I'm co-founder of Balance Point Studios. Our nonprofit is located in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood, with residents of that same neighborhood. So this is 131st, near Corlett Elementary. This is the 131st Street Public Library. This was my library as a child growing up. The area is the building like directly in the middle in between the 2 sets of trees. I don't know if you can hold that mouse. But so this is the library. So what we're looking at is this side wall. Can you go to the next slide real quick? So this is the wall that we're looking at. Can you go back one time? So that's the wall we're looking at. After, walking up and down the street, walking around the whole building, we were looking at the most visibility, the most visible wall. And we were interested in the traffic that moves past, as well as people who walk up to the library. If you're walking from Corlett Elementary School, this is the wall that you see. This is kind of like my commute as a kindergartner to 3rd grader, walking to one street past this, which is Angeles. You can go to the next slide. This is an image that, I don't know, I want to say maybe about 10 years ago, myself, St. Luke's Foundation, and the Cleveland Public Library. This was one of the early images that was commissioned, and it was originally on the Harvey Rice Library. And they wanted to switch that image out, but we got a lot of good feedback about just the image of a child reading a book, for a lot of reasons. We learn about literacy rates in Cleveland. We learn about literacy rates in specific neighborhoods. My dad was an illiterate man who passed away. So reading in the book and the child is something extremely significant to me. So that's kind of how we got to this image. Next slide. The way we install our murals, they aren't hand painted. My background as an artist as a photographer, we use a heat applied vinyl, which allows us to print out a large scale mural and that's then laminated to preserve the life of the mural. And then it's actually a heat process that allows it to heat shrink to the brick. And when we do these applications and we do these installations, what we do is over the course of years, we monitor the ability for water to seep behind the mural, because that determines how long the mural can last. So just over time and after it starts to weather, we kind of go back and we re-inspect and we seal areas that we might see water creeping behind the vinyl itself. The technology is considered semi-permanent, ultimately, which means that it'll last as long as no one takes it down. The longest mural that we have installed in this application is probably about 11 to almost 12 years, due to the fact that no water has gotten behind it at all. The lamination actually preserves the color actually on the mural. So this is just from our research for the last 10 years using the technology. We kind of found the strongest vinyl that we can find, and we preserve it pretty well with seeing how the elements start to weather over time. Is there another slide? So this is another angle. The church shares a the wall shares a driveway with the church. So this is just another angle from that driveway. And like I said, ideally, when we were looking at the building, we just went to where we thought had the most visibility for people who utilize the library and people who are spot.
Any questions? Is the one still on Harvey Rice? Or
Yes,
is
well, yeah.
the one that is
Yeah,
on
so we
Harvey?
swapped that out.
What do you mean swapped to what? There's a new one on Harvey Rice?
So we had two on Harvey Rice, and maybe about 2018, we switched out the little boy reading with the book of American flag and a child with a microphone. And then on the backside, there was a little girl, and that one a year ago was replaced. We got some funding to replace it. It had been up almost 10 years. So we
That time flies. I remember when that happened.
Right.
Wow. 10 years. It's like crazy.
So
We're
we
getting
got
old.
learning the technology, how we go. And we got approval, and we got a letter of interest from the library, and talked to Councilwoman. Extremely excited about it. We in the neighborhood, people always talking about these murals, asking what they gotta do to get one, so we kind of like found some money to be able to not,
Where's the funding coming from?
for these three murals, well, two of the murals, St. Luke's Foundation, and then Balance Point Studio, we're donating a third, so I'll show which one we're donating.
Awesome. Our futurist is not here, but she says she is very excited. She thinks the location and size are appropriate. The image is very inspiring and encompassing.
So I make a motion for approval for the mural.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yeah.
McRae Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
That was the strongest yes today over there. The second one is Mount Pleasant mural number 2. This is at 13425 Kinsman.
All right, so it's same thing, dead center of the map right here. That's the building. This building is at 135th and Kingsman. It's, the best way I can describe it is right across the street from Maris Taylor, for people who are familiar with that area. This is the east facing wall. So you're coming from Shaker and you're driving down Kingsman, and this is the wall that you see. And you know, driving down Kingsman all the time, looking at the building, go back one time real quick. You know, we kind of look at the bricks and we see the bricks kind of falling apart. And then when you watch somebody smooth them out with concrete, you're like, oh wow, this is amazing area. A lot of visibility, having a side lot next to it. It just seemed like an appropriate location. Balance Point Studio in general, when we're going in and out of schools by way of photography, visual arts, bikes, creative writing. We work with a lot of kids in the neighborhood. Personally, we're the adults in our families who children flock to, are always teaching. So we have a huge attraction to the image of the child, primarily the Black child in the neighborhoods that we are from and children are in. So that's how we got to this wall. Next image. This young lady, she lives in the neighborhood. She's on 131st now, but she was born on 139th in Kinsman. So the idea that for us, that real community engagement is like living in the community and using the community to engage with art, taking pictures of what's kind of happening in the neighborhoods and then putting them back directly in the neighborhood to reflect what's actually going on. And we've been getting a lot of good feedback, primarily from the middle schools. You know, we going in and out of school using the images and the murals as teaching tools and writing prompts and that sort of thing. And that was the biggest surprise, is for, you know, a 6-year-old or 7-year-old to really be able to give a whole lot of feedback about what's happening when they ride past this image all the time, or they're walking past these images of children. So our initial thought about 10 years ago is if we were children in the neighborhood currently, what is it that we have to see? And as artists and art educators, how can we use our knowledge of being children from the past to engage young people now? So this is just an example of one of the images specifically that a lot of the children really identify with. Maybe they have the same toy with light, maybe seeing themselves reflected, whatever it is. In doing presentations, we use images that really seem to stand out to the young people in the middle schools. We got permission. I think this might be a business owner who's not local, but they reached out. The property manager was excited about the possible opportunity. Then the building owner called, and they were extremely excited about the opportunity to receive one of these murals. And it's the same process that he applied vinyl. That was just another image. Actually, my mom helped us install a redo at another location.
That's from Tower Futures, unanimously approved by Euclid Board of Buckeye Design Review. She's in support, feels that the mural is a great way to address the unsightly large concrete that is currently there. And feels very strongly about the imagery which is reflective of the kids.
Have you done one this, sort of like a night shot? Do you think it'll work? You know what I mean?
Yeah, have we done a night shot? We have not installed a night photograph.
I mean, it looks like it'll be very cool.
But what we noticed is the images themselves kind of creating a level of illumination, even if they're lit or not, even though we've been trying to research some solar panel light that we can install to light the murals. So we've been trying to figure out some of that technology.
It kind of looks like it. It's gonna look like
It's gonna look, I mean, ideally, we're thinking that the light in the image will become the light in the neighborhood. And if we can get a light on top of that.
We'll see. That's interesting.
It's very dark in that area of Camden at night, so.
Sort of counterintuitive, you know, but it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Make a motion for final approval of mural number 2.
Second.
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McRae Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carries. And the last one is at 14001 Kinsman Avenue.
Yeah.
Is it the one that you're donating?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the mural that we're donating. It's same thing, it's dead smack in the center of that building. That's in the very center of the whole map is the building that we are talking about. And we're right at 140th in Kingsman, across the street from the Cleveland Public Library, Mount Pleasant, where Kinsman and Union splits, just to give you guys a visual of where we are. We always look at, you know, we are very much, our audience is very much young people. So we are always looking at what young people are seeing and where they congregate. So from across the street at the Cleveland Public Library, where you might see 10 to 15 kids just hanging out in front of the library, this is the wall they're looking at when they're looking across the street. And then this is a daycare. So nonstop all day, every day, you see kids going in and out of this building. So when we are looking for locations and we're scouting walls and really kind of letting Mount Pleasant be a central location where these murals will start to collect, this is the wall that we found. Now, depending on how you move around the city, you experience the Cleveland sign. And we've noticed that the Cleveland sign is in areas that it's not a whole lot of Black folks in those areas. And in photographing one of these Cleveland signs, we thought, oh, it would be amazing to bring a Cleveland sign to Mount Pleasant, almost as a suggestion for something in the future, but also feeling like, you know, everybody appreciates being from Cleveland, and what if Mount Pleasant could experience the same popular Cleveland sign that you see on photographs, on t-shirts and this sort of thing. So this was like our way to bring the Cleveland sign to Mount Pleasant. But when I was photographing this picture, I was watching this young man kind of make his way to start to climb on there. So still the idea of engaging young people with the imagery that's reflected on the walls. So we talked to the daycare, and they were excited because what we're learning is, depending on how you engage in the neighborhood, some people know who's doing murals, a lot of people don't. And what we've been noticing is a lot of the people who work in the neighborhood aren't as familiar with who's doing it as the people who live in the neighborhood. So this was a good way for us to kind of really introduce some of the work that we do to the daycare. And same thing, they were excited. You know, they rent the building, but they called the building owner. The building owner was extremely interested. The director of the library, the daycare was extremely interested. They shared maybe the possibility of another collaboration where Balance Point Studios gets commissioned, maybe to address a couple other walls that they have throughout the city. And I think they even talked to us about doing workshops and engage with young people and just explain to them that traditionally that's what we've been doing. We know that kids see the murals and then we go right back into schools or places where kids congregate and then start to have discussion using photographs.
I love it. I like the angled version. No, you're just gonna see it different ways too. You're donating the biggest one.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Make a motion, the final approval for mural number 3.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yeah.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carries. Do they go in now? I'm reading before the winter. You're gonna put them in?
So we now was
The
just
weather.
playing double dutch with the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
You can't do it when it's super cold and
I think it's below 50 degrees. But yeah, so it looks like we might be pretty good. But ideally,
yeah.
at least 2 of them.
Thank you. Thank you. It's amazing.
You're this
Yeah, we do it this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we gonna go back to mandatory referral. The first one is unnumbered ordinance. This is for the 10-foot wide asphalt multi-purpose path on 156th Street. Katie, how are you? Welcome. Brother.
And, to share, there are 11 or maybe now 10 mandatory referrals, so it could be requests that the president just go through.
Yes, we go very quickly. You guys have the first two, so go pretty fast on those. Yep. We'll do separate motion.
Thank you. Katie Moore, I'm Special Project Manager with the Mayor's Office of Capital Project. We are presenting an item for the Euclid Beach Connector Trail, which is a trail for Cuyahoga County. I believe when it is introduced on Monday, it'll actually be a single item. So the motion today will be fine, but just so you know, when you're following this through, law is going to combine it for introduction. We are seeking approval or Cuyahoga County is seeking approval to encroach on the public right of way of East 156th Street and Shore Acres Drive to install and maintain a 10-foot wide asphalt multi-purpose path. This is required in order to connect the trail from Shore Acres Drive to its endpoint at the Lakefront Park. I have Trevor Hunt from the county here who is going to walk through a few slides and any questions.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the commission. Thank you, Katie. As Katie briefly described, this is part of the Euclid Beach Connector Trail project. So we assume this project needs two street encroachment permits. I can real quickly walk you through. Is there a presentation?
There should be,
Okay.
I think this.
I can walk you through just a very brief presentation as a
I'm not
note.
sure we need one. We're okay. We understand. The type of white and finding
Yeah,
the right
yeah,
way.
so essentially, it's a 2/3 of a mile long connector trail along the lakeshore, so a unique project. If anyone's been out to the city of Euclid, this is a very similar project to that, so we're talking about public access and shoreline protection. It'll connect to the Euclid Beach, Cleveland Metro Park, and then the western access point will be at Shore Acres Drive. So in that 2/3 of a mile, there'll also be on East 156th Street, another access point. So it's 3 points of public access, all ADA accessible. The county, working with the city of Cleveland and the metro parks, we need a street encroachment permit. Essentially, we're not vacating the right of way, but to do work within the right of way at these two locations, Shore Acres Drive and then East 156th Street. So
We'll need two separate motions, just so you know. So the first one is the encroachment on 156th Street, that's unnumbered ordinance. Have a motion.
And so I'd like to make a motion for approval of a public right of way of East 156th.
Second.
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
And there's the picture while we vote on the second one, because looks amazing. By the way, there it is.
Exciting.
So exciting. I think we're all waiting patiently,
Yes.
but excited for this. It's a really important linchpin. The second one is the same project, but it's the encroachment on Shore Acres Drive. Same thing by installing a 10-foot multi-purpose fence.
Oh, make a motion to approve the right of way of Shore Acres Drive.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Oh, it's a very simple.
Actually, will this be kind of up and operational?
So our hope is to bid this next spring, and then construction would begin end of next summer, so August, this would be your timeline for construction. So hopefully end of summer 2026, we're talking that this is installed and being used.
Very cool. All right, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony?
Yes.
Keurig?
Yes.
McRae Scott?
Yes.
Sergeant?
Yes.
Motion carried. Are you here for the Eagle Beach Arch as well? No. Okay, so this is the next third one is authorizing the Director of Public Works to accept a donation of land owned by McDonald's Real Estate Company for a new city park and the relocation of the historic Eagle Beach Arch. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Commission. My name is Julian Wilson. I'm a real estate project manager and responsible for capital projects. And so I will be presenting a request for legislation, as you just stated, authorizing the Director of the Department of Public Works to accept a donation from McDonald's Real Estate Company. So if you'll go to the next slide here. Okay, so 15891 East 159th Street is the location of this parcel. It's a 1.5 acre lot that is owned by McDonald's Real Estate Company, but it has been vacant since 2011. And so the plan is to convert it into a city park. This parcel is bordered by residential structures to the north and to the east, making it a relevant location for a city park. And it will also serve as, providing use for a parcel that's been vacant for over a decade. And so this is a north facing view of the parcel, and next will be a south facing view of the parcel. And then if you go to the next slide, I have a present image of the Euclid Beach Park archway. And the city has plans to improve East 59th Street, which is where the archway sits atop. And in order to execute those improvements, the archway will have to be moved, but due to the delicate state of the archway, it can't be moved very far. So this parcel, like immediately adjacent to the archway to the west, is like the ideal location for relocation for the arch. And so I was asked to negotiate a donation with McDonald's, and I was successful in that endeavor. So they have committed to donating this parcel to the city. And our architecture team is working on a schematic to not just include the historic archway in the new city park, but also a plaque acknowledging McDonald's donation. And Council Member Lindsay is in support of this project.
Great solution.
Yeah,
Very good solution. Rare. So clearly you're a good negotiator.
Yeah, really. I make a motion for approval of the donation of land owned by McDonald's Real Estate for a city park.
Second.
Motion and second. Call the roll.
Anthony?
Yes.
Curry?
Yes.
McRae Scott?
Yes.
Sergeant?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Can I just mention that we've had like 4 or 5 Collinwood mandatory referrals in the last 2 meetings. So Collinwood is doing great. We're very excited to be supporting them.
Yeah, great. The next one's unnumbered ordinance. And this is authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to fundamental parking to encroach on the public right of way and Strandon Road. And so go ahead.
Yes, we're here today to discuss granting the request from for the Bedrock project for the Global Peak Performance Center. These two encouragements you'll hear about today are related to that project. This is allowing them to encroach with their foundations into the public right of way of Scranton Road, which is a little bit confusing exactly where that is in space. It is the old Eagle Avenue Bridge viaduct that came down and connected across the Eagle Bridge. It's that roadway. There's a couple layers there, so you know. So there are two encroachments. This one is for the northern building wall, and it would be granted to Fundamental Parking LLC in order to build the foundation for that side. I do have a representative from Bedrock on WebEx, Nora Romanoff, who can walk us through the slides. Okay.
I don't think I need to. I mean, I think we've seen the project multiple times, so this is pretty standard, so I think we're good. And then the second one, we'll do a separate vote, but it's the southern wall, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do we have a motion?
You can make a motion to encroach into the public right of way of Scranton Road.
Second.
Then this is for the northern encroachment.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carries. Can I have a motion, same motion, but for the southern building wall?
Yes. Motion of the brothers building wall.
Second. Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Carrie.
Yep.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carried. I made it easy for you. The next one.
Thank you.
Other mandatory reports of unnumbered ordinance declaring the intent to vacate all of Joy Court and Daly Alley. Presenting this philosophy. Rick, welcome.
Thank you.
It's a Hawaiian shirt Friday.
Yes, it is. But we haven't seen ones that have my same fitting. Good morning, everyone. Next slide, please. This, you're gonna look into vacating Joy Court and Day Avenue. If you go to the next slide, these are both, paper streets, as you can see from the aerial. It's between West 36 and, Barber, also bordered by West 30th Street. Next slide, please. This shows this survey, the yellow is Barber Court, the yellow is Joy Court, and Day Alley is the blue. Next slide, please. What's going to happen over here is that the developer, Mr. Beckman, Devin Beckman, is putting in a development that will have 140 low-income housing dwellings. So this is trying to consolidate that whole parcel so that he can do so. Next slide, please. Here's just another view of it. Much more to talk about. He owns all the parcels that are Joy Court and Day Alley. So we would look before authority to move forward with the ordinance to vacate Joy Court and Day Alley.
And planning supports this. Currently the roads lead to nowhere, so we're interested in seeing new reviews.
Yes, Councilmember McCormick also consent.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the encroachment into a public right of way of Scranton Road.
Vacation.
Joy portion.
Page 20.
Well, we gotta get to the right version.
The encroachment, approval for the encroachment, Joy Court and Day Alley.
I think we need vacation.
I'm sorry, vacate all of Joy Court and Day Alley. What's on the board?
Motion. Second. You're the second.
Second.
Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yeah.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carried. Great project. I think we caught one of those. Next month, unnumbered ordinance directing the director of community development to issue a development agreement with the Right to Development Corporation for the sale and redevelopment of parcels in the land reutilization program near Superior and 105th for the Glen Haven mixed use project. James, oh, two of you. Welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Talking about the brand complexes and other issues to be developed with the right to. I just want to just a little quick context. Several years ago, Right to came to the city and presented to us a concept around respite care facility on near the corner of East 105 and Superior. So they have performed their due diligence over the years. They've done public meeting, market analysis, industry analysis, and the budget, sources and uses, worked with construction company and so forth. And so they've come to us now, they're ready to move forward and come to the final stages on prepare this development. So they've come to us requesting a development agreement, which will help them with their final funding. What will go on that corner is the Glen Haven mixed use building. The upper two floors, three-story building. The upper two floors will provide respite care, intermediate respite care on the two floors short term, and then retail space on the ground floor. Next slide, please. So this is showing where the 10 land bank parcels that are being requested for the project sit. Those are in the green. In the middle of those parcels is an independently owned lot. The parcels on the corner also independently owned. They are in separate negotiations with those parcel owners to acquire those parcels as well. Next slide. This is the current aerial of what that site looks like, so you can see where the land bank parcels are, it's all green. And then there is the retailer on the corner. It's the 105 and Superior. It's on the northeast corner. It's 105 and Superior. Next slide. And I want to pass this over to basically go speak a little bit about the respite care and what this facility will do. There are some images that are really an early stage schematics.
Thank you for hearing us this morning. So our facility is a facility for those with mental health, dual diagnosis, and others with disability. Our short-term living is from 1 day up to approximately 1 year. And our clients are not sick enough to be in the hospital, but they're not well enough to be at home. So in essence, we serve more of the niche market, collaborating with the mental health agencies, the hospitals, assisted living facilities, homeless shelters, things of that nature. Our facility is a referral only facility, so we need all of our community partners. We don't step on their toes. We actually help to build the cracks for them in additional areas to be able to actually help their clients. So in essence, we are like the train station to our community partners. They bring them to us. We help to stabilize them. We help to love on them a little bit, get them healthy and well to be able to hopefully successfully transition back into the community. So one of the things that we'll be looking at is the outcome measures, following the clients back in, but as well as when the clients leave our facility, we don't just, in essence, transition them back into the community. We do the actual linkage of services within our facility. So it's not just a sheet of paper that they leave with, they've actually engaged with those linkages back into the community.
I think we're okay because we're really just approving the sale of the land, correct? And will this go through design review? And this will come back through design review, correct?
Right, this is going to be pet by the final. It will go to a design review in various stages. And you're actually approving allowing the park to develop.
Okay, and this is at the corner of Superior and 105. I have a question. Is some of the land, any of this land owned by Finico?
It is not.
Okay.
Okay, make motions for the sale approval for the sale of the redevelopment of 10 parcels of land located on Superior near 105th Street.
Motion.
Second.
And second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carries. Great project. Can't wait. We'll see you back here probably. Design review. We're skipping to page 23 since we did the Great Garden. This is ordinance number 11732024, authorizing the director of port control, public works and capital projects to enter into one or more submerged land leases with the state of Ohio for various tenants in the land at West Third Street, approximately to East 49th Street. These would be leases up to 99 years. So you can describe this too. That's welcome.
Yeah, sure, thanks. So just a little context. Basically, everything from West Third to East 49th Street, approximately north of the railroad tracks, was artificial fill. Was open water in the 1870s. And so we added fill over the years. And what this legislation will allow us to do is get all that land, all the land that currently is an under submerged land lease under one. And that's important to show site control for any project related to lakefront master plan and then future private development. So it's basically just allowing us to get it all under site control for the city and implement projects moving forward.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
For approval of ordinance number 1173-2024.
A second. Martin, a second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yeah.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance, there are two more mandatory referral. Ordinance number 1199-2024. Authorizing director of capital projects to lease certain property located north of Interstate 90 near Waterloo Road and Marginal Road to Meadow City for the purpose of developing native seed garden plots for the term of 3 years. Very interesting.
Good morning. Excuse me, my name is Dan Dockery with the Mayor's Office of Capital Projects, the real estate section. You go to the next one. Yeah, this is the site we're looking to lease. It's just off of Waterloo Road near Interstate 90. These were remnant parcels that were acquired by the city when the interstate was built. Next slide. So Meadow City, they have a kind of unique operation is that they grow native plants from seeds that are only native in Northeast Ohio. And some of the organizations they supply are Western Reserve Land Conservancy, including Metro Parks, the National Wildlife Federation. You go to the next one. So as shown on the slide, their existing operation is on the east side there, on the right side of the slide, and the site they're looking to lease from the city is kind of outlined in orange right down the road, Marginal Road. You can go to the next slide. Right now, yeah, with the parcels that they're currently leasing are all owned by the land bank. There is some property that they recently purchased. And actually, the site that they're looking to lease from the city, they're also under lease from the land bank too. You go to the next slide. This is just a rendering of what they're looking to plant. So they're going to be growing their native seeds, and then they're going to transfer these seeds to their nursery to grow their native plants. And this site here, there won't be any customer traffic. It'll just be the Meadow City staff. And the next slide, just one quick thing I want to mention. Yeah, this is in the next column of neighborhood. Seems like a lot of projects going on over there. And Councilman Plunks is aware of this and he's very supportive of the project.
Thank you. Great. Visually, will be nice to.
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 1199-2024.
Second. Motion and second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carried. All right, the last one is ordinance 1200-2024, authorizing the director of capital projects to lease certain property located under the Superior Viaduct Arch, number 6, to John G. Johnson Construction Company for the term of 5 years.
Hey, so my name is Miguel. I'm John Baptiste. I'm project manager with the Mayor's Office of Capital Projects. This is to do a lease renewal.
There's a lot of people in the office of mayor capital projects.
Well, all
What's
new.
going on down there?
All new.
Like, it's like a growth
So we-
strategy. Where?
Right, the real estate
How long
division
have you been there?
basically turned over, we have two new projects, so this is
I
all,
just-
we're all
It's
here.
great to see you, but it's like, it's a good thing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, a lot of projects going on. So this is a lease renewal of the Superior Viaduct, Arch number 6. You know, mocap, we own all, the majority of the bridges in the city, so. We are leasing space under this bridge to a construction company that is adjacent to it. They've been occupying the space for over 5 years, and we want to renew their lease now. Right here, you see a map of the space, building right there, with like 4 diamonds as their office, and then the lease area is what is behind it. Take the next slide. This is a visual of it, just how it looks on a picture and everything.
Just a renewal though, they're already there.
Yeah, they're already there. Here's a an aerial photo of it, just kind of letting you know where it's at. This is directly in the flats. And here's just a few items about it. They've been around for over 80 years. G. Johnson Construction. They are adjacent in the rear of Viaduct. The lease renewal term will be 5 years with 1 5-year option exercisable by approval. They will not have any combustible noxious or volatile materials or liquids.
Nothing will blow up.
Yeah, nothing that's gonna be a danger to the public, only cars. And we will still have the right, we will reserve the right to still be able to do maintenance on this bridge if needed.
Move for approval, ordinance number 1200-2020.
Second,
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Way to go, capital project. You get the award, you get the award, November award. I'm giving one out, everyone. It was in November for, awesome work. So we have 5 administrative approvals. Just take a quick look at them. We are not going to see the special presentation today, just due to time, so. And when you're ready, we'll just need a motion on the administrative approvals.
Move for us to approve administrative approvals 1167, 1166, 1174, 123, and 1203-24 for all the above.
I second.
Good motion. I just have one note. I can't remember why I abstained from number 5 last time. So I'm just gonna note that I'm abstaining from the administrative approval.
NRP.
Oh, that's right, to NRP. Yep. So that's why I'm just note, I'm able to vote on 4, but I'll abstain from number 5.
Okay.
So call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes, with 1 abstention to number 5.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant.
For the last.
Yes.
Motion carries, and thank you. Thanks, Drew, for jumping on. I think we're good. We got anything from the director?
Really quick director's report.
Okay.
Just wanted to mention a few quick things. We will move the site plan requirements presentation to the next meeting. Shannon is out of the office with an illness. Get better, Shannon. So a couple of quick things. We are starting a webinar series to help applicants better prepare for the interview of this. So this is a webinar on how to prepare a successful signage package. It'll happen this Monday from 1 to 2 p.m. with several staff between Planning and Landmarks Commission. And this is advice on how to do the design aspect, but also what things are needed to prepare. City Council will be doing operational hearings for the Planning Commission as well as the other boards and commissions on Tuesday, November 19th. Those hearings will start at 9:30 and they will be looking at our staffing, our budget, our contracts, and general questions about how we operate. Then we have some new staff, so they are here with us right now. I've already mentioned Mila Moss, who has joined us as the development review coordinator. We're very excited. She is boomeranging back to the Cleveland region after living in DC for some time, so we're grateful to have you here. And then Mr. Truksakoy is moving over from the building and housing department to act as our assistant zoning administrator. And he will be working closely with Shannon as she is the chief of that, and he will be working on the zoning review aspects, which will streamline our permitting process. Any words you want to say quickly before we?
Thank you guys for inviting me. This is my first time being at that meeting. I'm excited. Pardon me for being late. I was pressed by work, so I want to get some things up. I don't know what I want to say. I'm confused about what to say, but I'm still excited. Meeting new faces, being involved in the city work management. So I'm excited to meet you guys.
Thank you. Welcome.
Myla, anything you want to, you can be brief, just.
Sure, delighted to join the team. I'm glad to been here. This is my 5th day. So,
You're a veteran.
Delighted to Adam and Joyce and other team members have been explaining the process and what goes on. So it was great to see it today in real time. And I will say that you guys are quite expeditious. You've been meeting really well. So.
She told me.
That's our chair.
Administrative approval.
Yeah.
Wait, that's what, were you doing some planning work in DC too?
I did. I was a commissioner, elected a commissioner, advisory neighborhood commissioner. We did this very same thing along with liquor licenses and zoning and all of that. I did that from 2004 to 2012. So I know a little bit. I'm still coming up to speed.
Good, welcome. Good. It's like a lot of great new staff all over this place.
It's really fun right now. Few more things. The last bullet point on here is that we are improving culture, part of our strategic plan for City Hall, and planning is gonna get new carpet and chairs, and I just think it's worth.
Like, that's part of culture?
We're
getting new carpet.
We're so excited. No, this is a big deal for us, and we're gonna get an updated collaborative space, so we're gonna have more spaces to like get together, so it is a big deal. We will have more ergonomic chairs, and you can see that there's furniture everywhere in City Hall now, so it's been really good. Last thing, this was just announced, the City Club will be hosting Secretary Pete Buttigieg, Monday, December 9th, and I've had the honor to moderate that conversation, so just announced a couple of minutes ago.
Super cool.
And I'm very excited to.
Did they announce it today?
They just emailed it out a couple of minutes ago, so.
What's he here to talk about?
It's just like moderated conversation about anything you want to hear about. So if you have questions you want to know about, feel free to. I mean, ultimately, it's to me, it's what does he feel are his greatest successes as secretary?
Yeah.
Clearly, he's revamped the Department of Transportation to include many planning-oriented projects. He's also included racial equity as a key tenet of the Department of Transportation. So we'll be walking through his thinking behind that. Also, I think anything goes, right? Could be.
I love listening.
Yeah, he's so good. He is so amazing.
He's so like really, really like. You're gonna have to focus up some tough questions.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there still tickets? Because it's sold out.
Tickets are Tuesday. So remember, there's a pre-sale.
Sorry,
Tuesday.
Oh, my bad.
Excuse me, was it official did somebody adjourn? Can we-
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure we got.
I didn't, but I just did.
Thank you.